You know, Christopher Hitchens makes the outstanding, excellent, and unfortunately extremely true point that the ultimate, highest crack cocaine, so to speak, the greatest drug of all forms of racism is anti-Semitism. All forms of racism are just sort of gateway drugs, starter drugs, pussy drugs compared to anti-Semitism for the anti-Semite. It's interesting. You see this with Harley Davidson, although you can't really compare the two. It's orders of magnitude different. I mean, you're talking about 6,000 years of persecution against a people versus, you know, some impotent little boys getting upset at the motorcycle they never could afford to own, possibly being nice to some LGBTQ members. But yeah, it's amazing that hate, you know, if I've watched in my own experience in this neighborhood, all forms of racism will combine against a Jewish family. You see it, I've lived it. And it's so interesting with Harley Davidson, the way it's just like, they could hate any kind of motorcycling, but it's not quite the same high if it's not hating a Harley. And you see that when the way that people hate the Jewish people is that it's just, you know, people will use the N-word all day long, but they will miss being anti-Semitic. It's the ultimate high for the racist. There's no form of hatred higher than anti-Semitism. And it's because anti-Semitism indulges the paranoid part of their mind. So that's where they get the double high. It's like Yami Noob, they start thinking that somehow I'm out there playing a trick on him. I'm controlling the weather. So these paranoid motherfuckers, it isn't enough for them to just be racist. They have to also be anti-Semitic. All racists will ultimately become anti-Semitic, as will all paranoid people. You just got to give them enough time. But paranoia and racism always leads to the hatred of the Jewish people. And similarly, it's the hatred of Harley Davidson. It's that othering of Harley Davidson. Just like, oh yeah. Very strange. Very strange how much Yami Noob hates Harley Davidson. Very pathological. He says he's joking, he's not. He's one of the most sincere people I've ever encountered when it comes to hating Harley and America. Yami truly, truly hates America in the bottom of his soul. He wants to see it burn, just like Yami wants to see motorcycling burn. He's a very dangerous person. He's essentially the Parkland shooter. I don't think he's going to do anything physically dangerous to us, but Yami wants to somehow destroy motorcycling. He just hasn't figured out a way how yet. So he's trying to do it emotionally and psychologically. Yami was a very dangerous person. I don't think so to me personally, but God, his wife and kid, fuck, I would run if I were them.